I'm going to mute everybody. So welcome to this call. So the reason I put this together, I know it was kind of last minute, but I started having a lot of conversations with a lot of different people. And I found myself, again, sometimes you just have like times in your business where you start to notice one thing across the board. Last week or the week before, I can't remember, Fran did a call with her silver and above or gold and above, and threw out some different statistics and some things that really just hit home with me. And it even made me act differently. And you guys, I have been under an extreme amount of stress, as I'm sure every single one of you have, right? It's just a crazy time of year. And I had kind of let that filter into my business, how I was talking to prospects, how I was talking to teammates, and just I was just tired. Okay, I was just tired, and I started noticing that as I was getting tired, and that's the energy I was putting off. And so after this call with Fran a couple weeks ago, I started making a really big effort to change that. And I started noticing this ripple effect actually very quickly. And it brought me back all the way to the beginning of my business whenever we were going so fast. We were just flying through the ranks. Things were just crazy happening, which coincidentally started in December of last year. Okay. So we're talking about the same time period. And it got me to thinking about a lot of different things. So I have literally 3 pages of notes. I hope that you brought pen and paper, because you're going to want to write some things down. Okay. So before we start that, I'm not sure if you guys caught Q News today. I have only got about halfway through it, but Jake mentioned something happening on the 10th. And so I know that we will have some sort of announcement on the 10th. So mark your calendars for that, for the Q Sciences news page. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but I'm excited to hear about it. So I started noticing that in your recruiting, in everyone's recruiting, mine included, and in our launching processes, there is one main difference between the people that were getting results and the people that were not. The people that could do a Fab Five and get 10 people on it versus the people that we would set up a Fab Five for and they would get no one on. Okay. And the biggest difference is posturing. Okay. So posturing is basically, I like to think of it as the way that your energy comes out, the way that you feel to another person when they're talking to you. Okay. Do you feel confident or do you not? Do you feel excited or do you not? Can they feel the energy from you or can they not? Okay. And so I started noticing that even the people that didn't have a lot of success to speak of, maybe they hadn't gotten big paychecks or whatever, but they were excited and they were like running for it and they were so positive about it, they were getting results. And even people that had massive success but were lackluster and maybe letting some doubts creep into their mind were not getting results. And so that's the first thing that I want you to think of. Second thing I want you to think about is this is not just in your words in one conversation. This is in how you live, how you smile, how you speak, how you post, in your consistency. It is constantly the vibes that you're putting out, and that is what you're going to get back. Whatever you put out there is whatever you're going to get back. Okay? So what I'm telling you is that if you want to recruit successfully, and if you want to bring people into your business and launch them successfully, and if you want them to go out there and do it successfully, your belief in what you are doing and what you have your hands on and what you have to offer people in product and in business has to be through the roof. Okay? If you have any doubts in your mind at all, if you are sitting there telling yourself that you stink at this, if you are questioning whether you can help someone be successful or not, If you are questioning if this is for you or not, if you don't know if the products work because you haven't taken them and paid attention to how they're affecting you, your ability to recruit and to train and to lead is going to plummet, guys. At the same time, it's really easy because we have incredible products and an incredible business plan, and because we have all these things at our fingertips, to, if you pay attention to them, to make your confidence go up and to shoot your business through the roof. But it all is going to start with you. And I promise you, it all starts in your mind. Okay. I have not talked, a lot of us on here have done mindset stuff in the past. But some of you haven't been a part of that. And so I'm going to kind of walk you through some things that are really big eye openers. Okay. First thing, this is what I want you to write down. Number one, write it down on your piece of paper. What is driving you? And answer it for me. Why are you here? Okay. We know that this business goes through ups and downs. There are going to be times when you're on a high, things are going great. You know, like it could never get better than this. You're so excited. And there are going to be other times when your business doesn't feel so great. There was maybe a little drama, or maybe you lost someone that you really, really wanted, or maybe someone signed up that you really wanted and then life happened and they couldn't work the business with you. Things happen. There are going to be times that it goes up and times that it goes down. So what is driving you from the inside? Why do you want to be here? What are you doing this for? And it cannot be shallow, guys. It can't just be, I want to make money. It can't just be, I want to help people. Why do you want those things? Why? What is going to push you through? What is going to drive you to do things that are difficult and hard? Okay. It's not always hard, but there are times. And if you want to have a successful business, you have to be able to write that out and go through it. Okay. Second thing I want you to write down is, what are your self-limiting beliefs? I swear, if I have one more person message me and say, I don't know, I just stink at this, I'm just not a people person, I'm just not this, I'm just not that, and my business isn't working. I'm like, that's why your business isn't working. It's not because you're all those things. It's because you think you are all those things. Okay? You have to shut that down. You have to. I talk about it with my daughter, and the stage of life that she's in, she very easily can go to a negative place, whether it's playing basketball or riding horses, or she's going to be in her Christmas play this week, and she was saying to herself, like, I just can't remember any of these lines. And I'm like, well, no, with that attitude, you're not going to. You better figure out how to get in there and practice, and let's do this together. And then over the next several weeks, you're going to learn your lines and it's all going to be okay. But if you have this like mental block, you're stopping yourself before you ever get there. So what I want you to do is write down the things that you're saying to yourself. Okay. Are you saying, I just can't recruit anyone? Are you saying, well, I just don't know if this is for me? It could be like so many different things. It could even be things like, well, I'm afraid to do very well because then my husband won't like that, or whatever it is. Write it down. Okay. And then I want you to take a few things into consideration. There are scientific studies that this has been proven that the brain is like a computer. Okay. Whatever is being put into it, it doesn't change it. It doesn't fix it. If you say, okay, oh, look at my fingernails. They're purple and this hand's pink because Jovi likes it that way. So I do what my kid wants. If I say to myself, my fingernails are blue, my fingernails are blue, my fingernails are blue, it won't be long and I will start seeing this as more blue than purple. Okay? Your brain is the same way. Whatever it's being fed is what it's going to start to see. It's what it's going to start to try to create. Okay? So if you are consistently feeding your brain that you can't do this, that this is hard, that you don't have anybody, whatever, your brain actually is going to try to make that true. Okay. If you want to read more into this stuff, there's a book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. It is incredible. Helped me so much in my last business. And probably, honestly, I need to read it again. So what you can do is you can learn to not only recognize those thoughts and harness them because they aren't true. Let's be honest. You don't suck. You're not awful. You are not, you're not at the place where you cannot do anything. None of us have been here long enough to say that, okay? Now you may be struggling with something. You may need to change a few things, but you need to really watch your words, okay? So get to a place where you can recognize those thoughts. And then what I want you to do is start shifting them. So if you are saying, I can't recruit anyone, I want you to, if that's what's written down on your piece of paper as your self-limiting belief, then I want you to write next to that, I am great at recruiting top leaders, or I am great at recruiting influential people. Whatever the opposite and the positive is. Now, let me tell you something. It may not feel true to you right now. It may not be true to you right now. But if that is where your focus goes, studies prove that the brain will make an effort to get you to that place. That is where your mind will begin to go. Okay? A few years ago, a friend of mine's vehicle was stolen. Okay? I had lived on the same road for 10 years. I had never noticed any of those vehicles. All of a sudden, I started paying attention for this black Ford dually with this kind of mirror and this kind of whatever. And I started seeing those vehicles everywhere. And I realized that there were multiple of those vehicles that lived on my road. I had never noticed them before. But because I started intentionally looking for them, all of a sudden they started showing up in my life. It's going to be the same way with you. If you start putting those positive affirmations in your mind as often or more than any of the negative stuff, you're going to see those things start to show up in your life. If you start looking for opportunities, you will start finding them. Now, the flip side of that is if you're looking for negative things, if you're looking for rejection, if you're so afraid of it that it's taking over you, you're going to find a lot of that too. So you need to decide right now, which one are you going to focus on? Are you going to be scared, fearful, and focus on the negative? Or are you going to believe that this is the best thing you've ever gotten your hands on, that maybe you don't know how to do it yet, but by golly, you're going to figure it out, and you're going to start looking for those opportunities and finding every positive that you can possibly find. Okay? So that's the second thing. And just a little side note, find a way to repeat that to yourself, those positive affirmations over and over and over and over and over throughout the day. When you're in the shower, when you're putting on your makeup, when you are driving to work. I agree, Amber, option 2. When you are putting kids in bed, when you are doing your nighttime routine, when you're doing dishes, before you lay down at night, whatever the case, repeat them, repeat them, repeat them, repeat them. The brain actually will begin to form new pathways that help those positive things come to fruition in your life. Okay. Now, the next thing on that, one last thing that you need to have is a commitment to it, because those things do not happen overnight. And so you have to be willing to put your blinders on and not look side to side, or else you're going to get distracted and you'll find reasons why it's not working. So just do what I'm telling you to do and don't look side to side. And I'm telling you, you're going to figure out pretty quickly that those things start to come true. It's kind of like whenever you start thinking about your spouse, if you're thinking negatively about them, then everything they do bothers you, right? You're like, oh my gosh, the way he brushed his teeth. Oh, could he leave another sock on the floor? Like it can get, everything gets at you. But if you're actively looking for the good things in that person, then you can get to the place where all the positive things are coming out and you're like, oh man, he put his dishes in the sink. Like, that's awesome, and maybe it's just a normal thing, but it can become something that's good and positive rather than something that's negative. Okay. Next thing that I want you to write down, number 3, Who are you trying to attract? What are their qualities? And I don't want anything vague. You guys, I want you to actually think about these things. Who are you trying to attract? I want someone that is driven, that is charismatic, and that is hungry for change in their life. I know those are the top 3 things that I want to work with someone that wants to run. I want someone that is positive, that smiles, that people love. I want someone that has similar morals and values to me. Not that there's anything wrong with anyone that doesn't, but I want someone that I will enjoy working with. Okay? That I can be real life friends with the way that I'm real life friends with you guys, right? I want you to sit down and write out the characteristics of the people that you want. You want someone that's consistent. You want someone that is willing to do things that are out of the box. You want someone that is honestly probably fearless, that just goes after what they want. You want someone that is coachable, that is teachable, that will take the things that we give them and that will utilize it in the best way. You want someone that doesn't get distracted easily. You want someone that's smart, that's kind, that has a good heart. Okay? Write those things down, because if you're going to recruit them, you have to know who you're looking for. You have to know who you're talking to when you're posting. You have to know what your standard is. And then I want you to ask yourself if you are being that person, because you're going to attract what you are. So if you're an inconsistent person, do you want to attract inconsistent people? You're going to have to hold yourself to the standard of the people that you want and above it. Because whatever you are is what's going to come to you. Okay? If you're scared to death, you're going to get other people that are scared to death. If you are afraid to step out and actually put a vulnerable post out there, guess what? The people that are following you probably are not going to do this, are not going to be willing to do that. You've got to be, and I know this is a hard one. In my mind right now, there are 10 things that I'm like, gosh, I need to be doing it. I know that I need to step up too. So don't beat yourself up. Just take a minute to recognize where you need to step up at. Okay? Would the person that you want to attract not only know that you're doing Q, would they see it, and would they be intrigued by how you're putting things out there? Do they even know? And if they don't, then what do you need to be doing to make sure that they know that you're doing Q, that you're a person that would like to work with them? How can you step up in that way? Okay. And the 4th thing that I want you to write down, I want you to write down 4 things that attracted you to Q. What were they? And I want you to be specific. It is not enough to say the comp plan. What about the comp plan? Was it that we get a financial coach from day one? Was it that our comp plan is simple and easy to understand? Was it that it's fair? Was it that you get customer commissions? Was it that the monthly team income is set and you know exactly what you have to do to make a certain amount of money? Is it that there are no averages or estimates? Is it that you saw that 1,500 elite rank bonus and wanted it? What is it? What are the things that brought you here? Because again, you're looking for a specific person to join you, a specific type of person with specific qualities, and they're probably going to be drawn to the same things that you were drawn to. So you have to get really great at talking about those things. What I see is that in people's conversations, they have a tendency to make themselves really small and to make you really small and to say, hey, I'm doing this new thing. And, I think it might be good for you. I saw the products and they looked great. And I mean, if you ever want anything, just let me know. and they back away. And there's a couple of things about that. First of all, if you sound fearful and scared and not confident, nobody's going to be confident in joining you. Secondly, if you cannot specifically give them reasons to take a look at it that will turn light bulbs on in their brain, then they're not going to look at it. And third, if you're running away and retreating from them, they're not going to lean into you and chase you down. So you've got to get really good at how you're speaking. And a lot of that, 99% of it, it's not necessarily about the words that you use. It's about the feeling that comes from you when you're talking to people, or when you're posting, or when you're out and about. Are you smiling? Are you happy? Are you like looking like a person that's doing well and loving what they're doing? Okay. So I'm going to give you a little situation here. I want you to think of a realtor. Okay. I have a few friends that are like killing it in the real estate business. But let's imagine that you are a realtor and you've never listed or sold a house before. You're like fresh from taking your test. You've not made a dime yet. You are stressed about your family and your finances, and you've got all these things going on. And suddenly you get to list your first house. Okay. Now, remember, you've never made any money. So are you confident or are you not? You can't go into this and say, oh yeah, I'm the best realtor in the world. You definitely need to work with me, right? No, you don't have that yet. Just like whenever people come into queue, they don't have that yet, okay? Also, the house is really pretty, but it's a bit of a fixer-upper, okay? It's got a hole that needs fixed here. It's got some flooring issues that need fixed there, okay? But all in all, it's a pretty darn good deal, right? So I want you to think about two different approaches in the posturing that a person could take as a realtor in trying to sell this home. So the first one is if they go to their friend and they say, yeah, I finally got my first house listed, but honestly, like I probably am not going to sell it because I suck. I've never done this before. Like I have no clue what I'm doing. House isn't perfect and it costs like a significant amount of money. So who knows? Is that person going to be inclined to work with you? Are they going to jump on going and seeing that house? No, they're not. Like maybe your mom will be like, hey, let me go look at that with you, but nobody else wants to even take a look at that house. Okay. Or what if you go to your friend and you say, oh my gosh, I am so excited. I just got my first house. I have not done this before, but let me tell you, this is like a killer house. It's got this beautiful fireplace. It's a little bit of a fixer upper, but it'll be perfect for anyone that like wants to get into, you know, a really great home at a pretty darn good deal and then doesn't mind fixing up a few things. And also, you know what? I haven't done this before, but I'm hooked up with an awesome realty company. They're teaching me every single thing, and they are going to be there every step of the way to make sure that not only for me, but for the person buying this house, this is going to be the best experience ever. I cannot wait to show this house to people. Now people are going to come look at your house. Now people are going to be like, oh, she said there was a pretty fireplace and it's a bit of a fixer upper. And now all of a sudden they're excited about that because you've painted this vision in their mind. You're so excited. Same person, same situation, same house, but totally different experience. Okay. Now, let me ask you something. The first approach where the girl's like super down, does that make the house a bad house? No. Let's say that it takes the house a little while to sell. Does that make the house a bad house? No. Let's say that it takes the house a while to sell. Does that make the realtor a terrible realtor? No. All it means is that it took the house a little while to sell. That's all it means. So again, whenever things happen in your business, be careful what you're turning that into in your head. Doesn't mean Q sucks. Doesn't mean you suck. It just means maybe you didn't make a sale that day. It just means maybe, something wasn't right. Maybe there are some things that we can do a little differently. Let's look at another situation. This is where I want you to think about that scenario where I said, I need you to be able to give people specific reasons why they need to take a look at Q. Okay. Next situation, someone calls about the house and the girl says, well, the house is okay. There's a hole in the roof. It costs $380,000. And that's all the information she gives. What is that person going to say back? They're going to say, man, that seems like a lot of money. I just don't know if I have that kind of money. So if you go to someone about collagen and you say, hey, will you buy some collagen from me? I've heard it's really good. It's $100. They're going to be like, ooh, $100? I don't think so. No, I'm going to go to this $20 one at Walgreens and I'm going to be good there, right? Now, next situation. What if person calls about the house and the realtor says, oh my gosh, this house is beautiful. It's in a perfect location. It's up on a hill. It's in a great school zone. It's got this long winding driveway and beautiful magnolia trees. And I can feel and smell the fire there in the fireplace in the winter. It is only $380,000. It's a heck of a deal for someone that wants to come in and fix it up. You're going to have tons of equity in a few years. Now, what does that person say? Man, how can I come up with $380,000? Right? And that's just a number I threw out there. I realize that in different places that might seem like a lot or it might seem like nothing. I don't know. But I'm just saying, you get where I'm going with this. It's the same thing with collagen. If you go to someone, you're like, hey, listen, I know that you're super into like beauty and you work out. You've probably got a super need for collagen. Have you tried any? And then you talk to them about it and you say, well, listen, we just released this new collagen. It's medical grade. It has multiple sources and multiple types. I have seen some stories that have absolutely blown me away. Would you want to take a look at it? I think it would really benefit you. Or what if I sent you a sample of it? They're going to say, yeah, sure, I'd love to take a look at it. You are going to have so much value built up in that before you ever get to that price conversation. And our collagen is not $100, by the way, but I'm just using that as an example. That number seems smaller, right? Now it's worth it because they've been told all the great qualities about it. So we always say we don't want to be salesy, but guys, you have to know how to sell it. You have to know how to point out what is so great about it. You have to be able to do it with a smile on your face and confidence and be able to say, absolutely, this is going to be great for you. I can't wait to work for you or with you. These are the things we're going to do the second you get signed up. This is how we're going to make things happen. These are the products that you're going to start taking. I see them doing X, Y, and Z for you. You've got to be able to paint that picture for people rather than just saying, well, I think it could be great for you. Please join me. You cannot do that. You cannot run away. Okay. You're a business owner. All right. Let's see what else I have written down here. Okay, we're going to stick with this realtor example for just a minute, and we're going to think about what are some things that the realtor could do. Now she's been in the business a little while, maybe business has slowed down. What are some things that she could do? Well, or maybe she's still trying to sell this one house. Maybe it still hasn't sold, okay? So let's think about it. She could network with other realtors or other people in maybe mortgage brokers or other people in the surrounding community. She could host an open house, do some sort of an event. She could seek out individuals that are looking for the kind of house that she has. So she could identify what kind of person would look for her product, and then she could actually seek them out and go to them herself. She could look at different boards, like all sorts of different, like, what's the word that I'm looking for? places that you can advertise, basically, maybe other than where she had already advertised at, or in a different way. And then she could tap into personal contacts. Okay. So let's think about the things that you need to be doing right now in your business. First things first, I want you to honestly answer all of those questions that I asked you earlier. I hope that you wrote them down. And I want you to take some time actually writing that out and getting a really good grasp for yourself on what that means to you, because you guys, it's going to be different for you than it is for me. And my answers aren't going to help you that much. There's a certain amount of ownership that you have to take in this that cannot come from me. Okay. There's only so much. I can teach you a system. I can teach you, I can do calls like this. I can do QIQs and things for you. I cannot give you the drive to do this. I cannot choose your people for you. I'm having to do that for myself. Okay. So next thing that you can do, whether you have already had one of these or not, I highly encourage you to schedule a new business launch for yourself. Once we have done one for you, then we can do it for your teammates. Okay. I've had success with these. You've heard them called Fab Fives. You've heard them called ribbon cuttings, all of that. At different times in my business, I've had success with them. At different times, I have not. Recently, I have started having a lot more success with them. And the difference has been that I have changed my approach and my posturing when I'm teaching people to do this. And when I'm asking them to do this, I'm not saying, well, do you think we could get a couple people on? I'm saying, no, this is what we're going to do. I am so excited about it. I'm going to teach you how to say the things. I'm going to lay out the entire plan for you. We're doing it tomorrow night at 7:00, and you're going to get X amount of people on. And this is exactly what you're going to go to them and say. I am very positive, very affirmative about it. Okay. The other thing is, I have literally taught them step by step what to say and how to have this posturing for themselves. So, how to knock out any negativity. We're talking about what their mental blocks are. We're talking about what their fears are, and we're knocking them down so that that does not come out whenever they talk to people. We are writing down their 3 to 4 qualities that they want in a person. We are writing down their 3 to 4 things that attracted them to Q in specific detail, so that when they go to someone and talk about it, they know exactly what to do and say. Okay. So I want you to do this for yourself. I am happy to host one. If you don't have another leader that can do a business launch for you, I am happy to do it for you. And we've been having a lot of success. The other thing that we've been doing is not just one. So we've been scheduling out one. And then a couple of days later, what we're doing is working through, I'm doing this one-on-one with people. The second we get off, I'm having them follow up with their people that were on live. I'm teaching them how to follow up and what to say, getting them directly into 3-way chats and 3-way calls. I find that that's a point that people kind of start messing up. And so I'm right there with them, like, no, this is the point. As fast as you can, you're going to get them in with me. You're going to get them in with me. You're going to get them in with me. And people kind of want to hiccup at that a little bit, but once they get the hang of it, they're like, oh, okay, now I get it. This actually works. Okay. So that'll be something that you have to be there with for. Then we work through those, and then we do another business launch. And I get them to invite more people, and I get them to invite them very well. Now, what happens if someone does a business launch and no one shows up? It happens, guys. Chances are it's either one of two things. Either one, they didn't actually invite, or two, they invited all wrong and they said all the wrong things that you told them not to say. And so what I do is I coach through that, and I say, okay, you didn't have anyone show up, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to schedule another one, and we schedule another one right then for a couple days later, like not long, maybe 1 to 2 days later. And we go right back with the language. Okay. As a matter of fact, I have learned that used to scare me when people didn't have something show up, because I'm like, oh, it's so disappointing. But now I kind of use it as a kick in the pants for folks. Like, yeah, the reason that you didn't have anyone show up is because you didn't talk to anyone, or you only talked to 1 or 2 people, and we know you're going to have to talk to more than that, right? So let's try this again. and I go back through their language. I have them tell me exactly what they're saying, exactly how they're recruiting. I can usually find places where they're off at, or where they're saying something that they really shouldn't say, or where they're not giving specifics, and I help them correct it, and then we do it again. And we have another launch. Whether it was successful or not the first time, we have another one. Then we have another one. We're going to continue that process. And then what happens is it all starts to snowball, right? So we take the people from the first one that decided to do something, we do the same thing for them, and we build on that. We take those people, we do the same thing for them, we build on that, and pretty soon that snowball just gets really big. Okay. Okay. The next thing that you could be doing right now, we have some people on here that are doing it. They're doing it well. They're killing it. I am not. This is one of those things where I need the kick in the butt, and that is reels. Everybody says you need to be doing reels. Lindsay's smiling at me. Danielle, I was talking to her today, asking her some questions, and she was like, Jenny, you have to start doing reels, like a reel a day. And I'm like, Danielle, I don't know why you always say that to me. She's like, because you need to, and you haven't started doing it yet. I'm like, I know, dang. It's just not my cup of tea. But I also know I'm gonna have to start doing it. I'm just gonna go to Fran's page. I'm gonna copy Fran's. I'm gonna change the wording a little bit. I'm just gonna be a copycat, which I don't even like, but I'm gonna do it because that's what they're telling me to do, right? And I want a coachable person to I want to recruit a coachable person with that characteristic. So I have to start being coachable, I guess. Dang it. Anyway, that's that. Social media, consistency, consistency, consistency. Business in your newsfeed, product in your stories, showing your face, talking about your story, telling it over and over again. And you guys, telling the stories of other people. So look around on this Zoom, see these names, go to them and say, hey, can you tell me your story? And that way you can post it in a few days, or you can talk about it in your newsfeed or in your stories. And you can say, hey, I was talking to a friend on the phone last night. This is what product she's taking. This is how it's helped her and her family. Like, I'm so excited for her. Getting the stories out there. Okay. That's something that I still say we have not done enough of. It's something that as a whole, as a team, we're missing out on. Okay. Looking for opportunities to speak or get excited. If you have to reach out to 10 people next week, if I told you next week, I'm going to force you to reach out to 10 people, are you building the relationships and looking for the open doors this week that you will tap into next week? Are you keeping your eyes and your ears open? Are you looking for opportunities to talk about what we have? If you aren't, you've got to start. And then sharing valuable content with posture. So are you talking about things Q related or not Q related that you are excited about? Are you a positive presence in people's life where whenever they see your face pop up on their newsfeed, they're like, oh, let's see what she's doing today. Okay. Anyone have questions, thoughts? Did this make sense to you guys? Did it not? It's kind of a hard thing for me to explain because it's just something that I felt. But it does make a difference. So tell me, I'm going to stop the recording and you guys can tell me thoughts.